Jessie, here we are. It's op day,
The best day.
the best day. Um, I was thinking about, it's now June. We're getting into summer. People are having vacations, which is awesome. Yes, online sales specialists, you're allowed to take a vacation. Please do.
Uh-huh.
Where have you gone recently? What's been fun in your world?
I just got back from Fripp. So it's Fripp Island. It's my first time.
Frap, frip, frap,
Frappe.
frapper, fripper. Never heard of it.
Fripp
Where in the heck
Island.
is that?
Hey, okay, what it's known for, number one is golf courses and the beach, of course.
Ah,
But they have a bunch of deer that
oh,
they're very regulated. So you can't like have a gun on the island or anything because they preserve their deer and they will walk right up to you. So they're everywhere. We rode
oh.
our bike around the entire island and I probably saw 200 and it's amazing because they'll just walk across the golf course while you're playing. Like they are not scared of humans. So that was
Wait,
really fun.
wait. I'm just
There's
remembering.
I have a
I'm
picture.
remembering the text message that I got from you over the weekend
Oh yeah.
where you said you were trying to have a moment and take a lovely video. And I hear Chase, your husband, in the background saying, like, I sure would like to eat that or something. What
I
did
know
he
I'm sitting there like, we're watching these people and the house we stayed on was on the 18th hole, which is amusing enough because
Yeah.
after 18 holes of golf, it's funny to watch people. But then there's this deer that walks across in the middle of the day and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so cute. And I get my camera out and I'm starting to record this video. And he says something like, ooh, I sure would like to shoot that, or I'd like to put that in my freezer or something. And I'm like, "Ugh, you ruined it. You ruined it.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh. Well, speaking of the great outdoors, my husband and I and Sam ventured out to West Virginia to what I thought was going to be this lovely rustic cabin glamping situation. At least that's what Drew sold me
oh,
on.
yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
that's what I thought was happening.
He's a good salesman.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we get there and it's like a 3 level shack with 3 like bunk beds, and it's 3 adults, 2 dogs, 2 little windows, no bathroom. And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay. So here's what I want to ask you." And I had never thought about this and ever, but as I get older, I've got to get up and go to the bathroom in the middle of the night more. Okay. So I get
Do
up,
my.
it's 4 a.m. Okay.
Okay.
I'm stumbling, making my way to the bathhouse, the community bathhouse. All right. And the thought pops into my head, what happens if a bear shows up? What are you supposed to do? Do you run?
I don't,
Do
I think
you?
there's like a rule.
I know, but I'm sitting
I
here.
don't
This is
know
what
the
I'm
rule.
contemplating at 4 a.m. when I'm like making my way to the bathroom, like pitch black. If a bear shows up, what do you
I
do?
think it's something like if it's brown, lay down. If it's black, like it's like attack, like you yell back at it and it'll run away. I don't know.
I
It's
know.
some rule like with the
So if you're
snakes.
listening and maybe our guest will know, but if you're listening and what are you supposed to do? If you see I think in West Virginia, it's mainly black bears. So if you see a black bear, what do you do? Do you
Hmm.
flee? Do you make friends? I don't know.
I'd probably try and pet it. I don't know.
Fortunately, made it to the bathhouse, no issues. It was quite the adventure. So,
Yeah, it looked amazing.
all right, let's get into this. Okay, episode 17, Jessie. Can you believe
Hmm.
that? Um,
Yes.
we are back. We are here, and I'm so excited to introduce our special guest. It's a guest day. We have guests today. And these two, they've been on Opt before. I was looking back, they're Opt pros. They've been here with us, and they're not only Opt pros, but they are online sales specialist pros.
Yeah.
Please join us in welcoming Elena Mora and Chelsie Glidden from Ideal Homes. Welcome, ladies.
Woo-hoo.
Hey, there you are.
Hello.
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 If you have been living under a rock and you don't know who these two are, let us tell you a little bit about Elena. She is she was National Online Sales Specialist of the Year in 2023.
Yes.
Right?
Here. Mm-hmm.
Am I screwing this up? Okay, 2023 National Association of Home Builders Online Sales Specialist of the Year. We were there. We got to see her get the award. It was amazing. She's just absolutely fantastic. And then her partner in crime is Chelsie Glidden. They are a dynamic duo. And in fact, like just little side story, fun fact. The last time we were on a call together, because I have the pleasure of working with them, they said to me, Jessie, they said, hey, like what are the latest trends? Like what are people doing? Like what are other online sales specialists doing? And I gave them some examples of like some cool video emails that people are doing and some different like marketing things. And I was like, hey, get out on site, do some things, whatever. And I'm like, well, what are y'all doing? And they're like, oh, well, yeah, we're doing some of that, but like we have this new like appointment setting process where we're classifying salespeople as red and green and we're getting some great results. And I was like, wait, what?
Tell me more.
Yeah, tell me more. And I'm like, you guys are the trendsetters. I mean, you're asking me what other people are doing. Yeah, look, Elena, what do you think? What do you think when I say that?
It just makes me so proud because, Chelsie and I work so hard and we really have a great group here at Ideal Homes where marketing and sales team, we really work together to figure out how to increase our conversions. And so the green team, red team was a product of all of our hard work.
I'm sure everybody is just waiting patiently to hear about this because this is definitely something that is a total like out of the box thing. And so we're going to get into that, but Jessie, I know you've heard this. I mean, this is something that withstands the test of time. Is this, my salespeople, how do I bridge the gap? How do I get salespeople to use the CRM? What are you hearing people talk about?
Well, I'm not saying anything I've never done before. So we say this, we've done everything the right way, the wrong way, the easy way, the hard way. And so I did this myself for quite some time. And I noticed a trend in other newer online sales specialists. They are kind of encouraging bad behavior with getting on sites to use the CRM. And because they don't live, eat and breathe CRM, if they're not in it all the time, it's not like second nature. And so they're like sending notes, like detailed notes via email to the on-site to make sure that they're prepared instead of saying, hey, here's a link to this customer's CRM profile. Go take a look at the notes and let me know if you have any questions versus here's all the notes.
Guilty.
So then they can go back. I
Guilty.
know, right?
I did that. Definitely.
I did that too.
Yeah. Okay. So we've all done that.
Because we want to be helpful.
Why do you think we do that? Why do we do that?
The freaking note.
We want the conversion. We want the good handoff. We want the process to go smoothly.
Yeah.
We want the customer taken care of.
We want to make it easy for them. So we end up like just doing it for them. Like I think about like all the things I do for my children that I'm like, I really should teach them to do this and not do it for them. Cause I'm going to be like hitting myself in the. So it's the same thing with our salespeople. We've all done it, as you can hear us talking about, is that we are enabling poor practice. We're not enabling best practices. We're enabling kind of the quick like return. Like, I'll just do this for you. I'll make it easy for you so that I know that you've seen the information. I know that you've looked at the notes and I know that the appointment showed up or didn't show up. That's what we're ultimately trying to figure out. Right. Elena and Chelsie, I'll let you chime in here. Elena, you've worked at Ideal Homes for how long? 17, 18 years, something like that?
August will be my 20th year here at Ideal
years.
Homes.
Holy cow.
18 years in this seat. So,
okay. And
as an online sales specialist.
You've seen, what's the age-old challenge of getting everybody to use the CRM been? What's it been like?
we've come a long way. And I say now that I have a partner, she and I can really help coach our team and see the value in using the CRM. As before, it was just kind of like an afterthought, but now like we create really good templates and really good processes. So it's just a set it and forget it. So it's really simple for them, but they do have to get in the CRM. They do have to do the work, and we will be randomly auditing them. And you know how you always say observe and report. We do we do exactly that, to make sure that they have those additional coaching opportunities with their sales manager. So that way, you know, we're making the most out of every single prospect that walks through our door.
Yeah. Anything to add to that, Chelsie?
Yes. So as far as the auditing, random further down the line, yes, but we do track the handoff process and the initial follow-up. So that part is not random. We know and we track it every single day. It gets shown to Aaron and then ultimately to our sales manager. And then also, I guess, more spotting the auditing, kind of spot audit. We're noticing, you know, right now, just like everybody else, we're really digging deeper into prospecting. And we were for a while trying to stay out of the sales side of it and just doing our leads, and we've exhausted most of our online leads. And so we are going back into the sales bucket. And so we are noticing, you know, who was continuing the follow up and who was not. And it, I mean, it's pretty easy to know who was continuing to follow it and who wasn't, because they were having conversions that were older. But the proof is in the pudding right there. And so we're seeing it as we're going in, checking for notes to do prospecting. So and we'll actually be speaking with our sales team on Friday at their sales circle about best practices and lasso. And
so I wanna back up and just talk about a couple things. So one thing that you said was observe and report. Both of you use that phrase. And I think, you know, when you're looking at you know, how well is the handoff going? How well is that, you know, introduction from sales? Like once you set the appointment and post-appointment follow-up and notifying you of, did they show up? Did they not? These are the things, right, Jessie, that we hear online sales complain about a lot. Like, hey, I don't know. I don't know what happened with the appointment. And I've got to quantify that. It's one thing to go, hey, how's your handoff going? Well, I mean, I feel like it's going okay. Versus actually tracking it. Did they do it or did they not do it? That way you have it there in black and white, observe and report up to sales leadership. Now, I just want to caution everybody. Don't get caught in the CRM accountability police patrol. Jessie, what happens? What have you seen happen when OSCs get they're holding their salespeople accountable?
Yeah, if you're working on bridging the gap, don't go in there and go direct to them and say, hey, why didn't you put the notes in there? Why didn't you do this? Because then they're going to be like, okay, stay in your lane. Like, you do your thing, I'll do my thing. But if there's one thing I have seen or heard, it's that both, whether you're online or on site, you like that accountability piece. So you allow that to come from upper leadership, because people like to prove that they're doing what they should be doing. With also, like you said, the opportunity to grow and to be coached in areas where maybe they are lacking and they have a place to ask.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys at Ideal felt like there was a need to do something different. So talk a little bit about what was going on that, you know, drove you to the point of coming up with basically like a rating system for your salespeople, right?
So over the past year or so, a little over a year, since things have slowed down, appointments are harder to come by. And we got to a point where we were noticing some specific communities within our area that we were having to send appointments to new consultants that weren't converting. And it was a high amount of appointments. And how we set appointments is communities have a specific community manager assigned to them that they work out of every day. And if they didn't have a community manager, either a roamer, so someone who was new, would cover it, be scheduled in that community on their day off, or whoever was closest. That's how we were scheduling appointments. So we were noticing that just by that default, the same new home consultants were getting the bulk of the appointments. That was just a hot spot, and they weren't converting. And we felt it, appointments were harder to come by. We wanted to see them convert. We wanted to give more opportunity to the new home consultants that we knew had a proven track record of doing the follow-up.
You're like, man, I got this appointment. You're
There's a
feeling like it's really
golden
good.
egg.
It's appropriately qualified. You're excited about it. And then you're thinking, why is this not converting? Like, what's happening?
Yes.
And, we did speak to our Erin, who is our marketing director, about this issue, and she presented it to the sales managers, and they could see our frustration, but they really wanted to focus on fairness as part of, being fair in proximity. And so that's what the focus was on. So we just kind of let things play out for, I would say, the course of all of last year. When you say, Chelsie, and
yes,
then
absolutely.
yeah, and so we were still noticing more opportunities that were lost, because just like Chelsie said, we would set up these really good qualified appointments, and we'd send them to the same new home consultant and they wouldn't convert. And we would try to sneak in an appointment with someone from another area just to try to, throw some other new home consultants a bone and give, an opportunity to them. But then, we kept getting bombarded with texts and emails and calls from new home consultants and then sales managers saying, why are you giving the appointment to this person? Instead of, you're supposed to be focusing on giving it to the person who's right across the street from that neighborhood. And so, we had further discussions with Erin. And then from there, they enacted like a 2-hour rule, which was basically all the new home consultants have to have 2 hours space, time gap between each appointment. So they can spend quality time with that new home consult or with that prospect, and then go to their office and complete their lasso activities. So that went on for a little while. And then we were still noticing just terrible conversions with all of the customers we were required to send to certain new home consultants. So Erin created a formula in our new home consultant dashboard to show the total distribution of appointments. And then from there, we noticed that several of the new home consultants who had the majority of the appointments had the lowest conversions. And so with that data, she took it to the sales managers and the VP of sales, and they came up with this idea for the green team, red team, which basically their goal is, if you want to be on the green team, you have to have a 30% appointment to sale conversion.
Woo!
So
for online appointments, and it's a rolling 6 month.
Woo!
Yes.
Okay,
right.
So just pause for a second. If you want to get on the green team, and the green team gets priority appointments, right? Is what I'm understanding. Okay.
Like overflow appointments to the neighborhoods that don't have an assigned community manager.
So yeah, for everybody listening, let's clarify something. So if there is a designated community that has an assigned salesperson at that community, they're getting the appointment because that's their community. They take ownership. They own that community. For all intents and purposes. Okay. But if there's overflow situations, there's a floater, there's where there's not a designated salesperson, and it's kind of cross selling, right?
Yeah.
There's the green team. And the green team gets the priority appointments. And in order to be on the green team, you have to show a conversion of appointment to sale of 30%. Woo. How many people do you have on the green team?
It varies monthly.
So monthly, it's reevaluated.
Right. And it's on a rolling 6 months, but I would say it averages about 4 new home consultants every month. So far, we've had 2 that have, since we rolled this out in December of last year, we've had 2 new home consultants who've been since the very beginning.
Oh, nice. Okay. I was going to ask you, how long have you been doing this? So since December.
Yes.
When you first, did you have any fears at first when everybody decided to roll this out?
A little bit, yes. So the first day when they told us, we were like, so excited. Yes, this is awesome. And then the first couple times I went to do it, I was like, "Ooh, there was a
Like-
little bit of a gut check, like, oh, I asked for this, but it feels a little, like
are
taking the
you going to
training wheels
piss people off?
Yes, and as much as we asked for it, it still kind of was in the back of your mind, like, oh, but luckily we have a phenomenal relationship with our sales managers and with the VP of sales and with Aaron, our marketing director, and they were told from the get-go, this is how we're doing things. Do not question it. These are the rules, and don't call them and ask them why they set those appointments. They set them because those people have this conversion rate.
Okay.
End of story.
Yeah. Leadership buy-in is crucial if you're going to do
Everything.
something like this, right? Okay. So fear of like, oh gosh, am I going to piss people off? Like, what does this mean? And then, so okay, 6 months in, basically, what are the results? Is it working? Like,
It is definitely working. Yes. So at the end of last year, our appointment to sale conversion was about 24%.
okay.
And so far this year, our appointment to sale is at 29.2%.
Okay.
And in April, we had one of our highest conversion rates for appointment to sale at around 36.5%.
Wow.
So yes, it has made a huge difference. And yeah, we're very, very excited about this program.
Okay. And how are your sales teams adjusting?
You can definitely see the line in the sand for the ones that it's highly motivated. And for the ones who are wallowing in this maybe doesn't seem fair.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you can kind of tell who is on the green team and who's not just by auditing their lasso, because the ones who have the most buy-in with the follow-up process, they're consistent with their follow-up activities, doing their handoff, all of that. Whereas the members who are consistently on the red team, they typically don't add good notes. They typically don't
That's
do the
what I was going to
process.
ask. Yeah. I was going to ask, like, so obviously your appointment to sale numbers have increased, which is amazing. But have you seen the behaviors in CRM improve or kind of stay the same, or what are you seeing there?
Well, it's mainly the people on the green team who have been consistent throughout the entire process. I would say that when a new home consultant gets one of our appointments, they take them a lot more seriously than they did in the past. Green team, red team, they actually take more time with them rather than, kind of pre-qualifying them in their minds, like they're not ready to go in a year, so I guess I'm not going to give it my all or whatever. I feel like they're a lot more serious with the customers.
Jessie, what do you think about this?
I'm so intrigued. I mean, I'm over here racking my brain. So for people like me who aren't the best at math, when you think about a conversion change from industry standard of 20%, even jumping just up to what their lower one was last year, 24%, 25%, that changes 1 out of every 5 to 1 out of every 4. And then when you jump from 25% to 30%, 3%, that's 1 out of every 3. And that's a big difference when you compare that to the average walk-in conversion of 1 out of 12. So your on-sites, I think over time, will see the value of getting that conversion rate where it needs to be so that they can get the opportunity of I only have to see 3 or 4 prospects to get 1 sale versus 12 to get 1 sale. And so it's going to motivate in the best way. It's just going to maybe eliminate those who can't keep up or can't get with it. And it's going to accelerate those who are putting the customer first, who are making the sales for the company. Now, I'm going in my brain and I'm going back in time when I was in the seat. And I'm thinking, when we did the same thing in regards to on-site being on-site unless they're off and it's a floater or somebody who's training up to be an on-site. And in that case, I would do everything that I could when a customer called in to schedule that appointment on the day that the designated on-site was there. But in this case, maybe you would lean more towards getting them in when the person's off. When your regular on-site who doesn't convert as fast. You know what I'm saying?
I don't have that bandwidth. That's funny that you would think about it that way. I don't ever I guess we have a large sales team, and locally, like I know Jesse, you come from a national builder when you're in the seat. So like you guys had communities, different states or vastly in different cities, things like that. Luckily,
Right.
we're pretty local and have a large sales team. So I've never really thought that, that way. I'm like, I don't even suggest a time. Usually I'm like, when do you want to come? When, like, whatever your best time is, I will have someone there. So, but that's an interesting
Yeah, but you
way
wouldn't never
to,
just go, well, what
right.
about Thursday when our primary is
Yeah.
there? It's kind of like, yep, you want to come
I
in
mean,
Friday?
I would be lying if I didn't, when I was in the seat, there were certain salespeople that did a better job than others.
Oh, yeah.
That
Right.
you're like, okay, I'm going to book the appointment with Jessie because, she does a good job. I mean, this is kind of the same thing,
Mhm.
but just with rules or with guidelines
Yeah.
around it. Really, like if you think about it.
Mhm. It's spicy and I like it.
Listen,
We do
there's
too.
one thing, those of you listening, this only works if you track the results with anything, right? We encourage you to go try different things, but have the data to support it. So you'll notice, Elena, you said, you did your research first. You got the dashboards in place. You were tracking results per community, per salesperson, per appointment, looking at what was happening. You didn't just go, well, I think they get more sales, so I'm going to make them green. Like, you had the data to support it. And then you're tracking the results. That is so important in anything that you do so that you know what is truly working and what is not.
Elena is huge on not, I will a lot of times say, I think, or I feel, and now I stop
Right.
myself because I know that she has trained me to be like, well, is that a feeling or is it actually like trend? Was this something you saw highly for 2 or 3 days, or is it actually happening a lot? So luckily she's good at checking us on that. And Erin is obsessed with Excel spreadsheets. So we track all the things.
Shout out to your manager, Erin.
Yep.
She is freaking amazing. And the other thing I will say to anybody listening is anything like this has to come from leadership. It cannot come from the OSC saying, I've created a green team and a red team. Okay. Johnny and Scott are on the green team, and I've determined that Jessie
The rest of you
and
suck.
the rest of you are on the red team, and you're not getting any appointments, because again, that will just create friction.
Right.
So it's got to come from leadership, and leadership's got to be one to hold them accountable. And it can't be online sales, like letting them know, like, you're on, you're off, like, congratulations, this month you're on our team and you suck. You're on the red team now. Sorry. Okay. Well, let's kind of move into, we've got a video email in our video mailbag that came in from one of our dear online sales specialists, Stephanie Moffett from Chesapeake Homes. And I'm going to share this and then we'll talk about it.
Hey everyone, I have a quick question for the masses. What is the importance of keeping the relationship positive between the on-site sales representatives and the online sales team? And one more question on top of that as well is, how do you do it? I can't wait to hear back from you guys. Thanks.
Oh boy, I love this question so much. So, guys, first of all, what's the importance of having a good relationship versus a bad relationship?
I mean, ease of, the market isn't the easiest at the moment.
Yeah.
And you need your energy, your positivity, your bandwidth to be focused on making the best of that versus wrangling, different relationships or ups and downs with your on-site. So I feel like it's very important to reserve that for handling today's
so
market. So
basically what you're saying, for your sanity.
Yes. Yes.
Amen.
let's have a good, positive working relationship to preserve our sanity, create, have a better work environment. Yeah. Because it's hard.
Enjoy each other. Yes.
Yeah.
We're all in it together. We're not against
Elena,
each
what do you
other.
say?
Yeah, just to kind of piggyback off that, and I mean, when you have a good relationship, your conversions improve significantly. And what we really noticed from what we were tracking was, all of those opportunities that were lost when we didn't really have appointments going to the right people and not being able to really communicate that to some of the salespeople, like, hey, you need to step up your game because we're sending you all of these appointments. But it's just really necessary to have that good relationship to get them, motivated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So sanity, increased conversions for sure. Like if you're doing this all the time, you're not going to have, and you don't have good communication, that's going to cause a problem. What do you think, Jessie? Anything else? Why the positive?
It naturally, it creates a better customer experience, which is what we all care about, because happy customers equal sales, and we're all employed because there are sales happening. And so we have to remember it's customer first, but it all starts with internal relationships, because your customers from the online perspective can tell if you aren't smiling when you're on the phone. And it's hard to smile on the phone when you're always feeling like there's like combativeness or miscommunication happening. And miscommunication normally happens from lack of knowledge or lack of transparency or understanding of going, this person has all of my opportunity for my future income, and I'm supposed to trust them. And if you're not communicating with them on, here's all that I'm doing with them, here's what I'm making sure that I'm getting rid of, so that you don't have to, take that part of your day for that wasted time. And we're in it together, that communication. And that takes time to get there. But then the other piece that I think might be a good reminder for somebody who may be struggling with this is that 80% buy-in is 100% success. So like, you're never going to win over 100% of your sales team. But if you can identify that it's lower than that, there's some work to be done. And that's a good thing, because the rest will be a byproduct of that hard work.
I love that. 80% is 100% success. No truer words have been spoken. I have chills. So let's talk about now, okay, if you're having that issue, or if you're having an issue with connecting, what are some things that we can do as online sales to create a more positive connection? And I just want to start out by saying, online sales specialist, I'm looking you in the eyeballs. It is absolutely up to you to proactively try to make this better. I see online sales sometimes go, well, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing, and sales isn't doing their part. Okay. However, what are you doing to insert yourself into their world to make the connection? So I just want to preface that by all of these things some of these things are in your control that you need to be doing on your end. Okay. So who has an idea or something that you guys have done that's helped?
I think if you're noticing an area that they're lacking in, or you're calling them for some type of check-in, start by asking, how is it going? How do you think it's going? Do you feel like anything is amiss or doesn't make sense to you? Check in with them. There may be a reason something is going awry. Don't just call, you didn't do this, make sure you're checking in with them. And explain your why on the processes and your position. Not a whole lot of things, unless you come from home sales, some car sales, things like that, have an online sales program. So explain your job and the value that the company sees that it brings, and how you're there to help.
So what I hear you saying, what translates to me is, one, be humble. Like, be humble when you are working with your on-site team. Like, don't be afraid to ask, how am I doing? How was that appointment? How are things going? Is there anything I can help you with? Like, how was that appointment? How were the Barkans when they came out? Like, keep the lines of communication open and be humble. And, he or she is essentially like your customer as well. Nothing happens in our world unless sales happen. So we have to figure out a way to make that connection. And then the other thing you said, Chelsie, is having an understanding for what each other does. Unless you have done the role of online sales, like you don't know. So like take some time to educate them. You said the why. Like here's our process. Here's why we do what we do. Here's how this is going to help you. Because otherwise they don't know. Yeah. So understanding. Yeah.
And vice versa. If you've never been on site, go shadow them. Because if you're
Yes.
not setting expectations that align with what the on-site is doing when they come out, they're going to have that friction every time. Like, what is she saying to these people? They don't seem to have the right understanding. So just as much as you're telling them what you do, you need to know what they do. And so staying in front of them, just being present, attending sales meetings, and also getting to know them personally. I think we can all agree, you know, you've got work relationships, but there's a different level when you can ask them about their vacation or their children or their spouse. And that just takes it to a new level.
Like, hey, what do you do when you got to pee in the middle of the night and there's a bear coming at you? What do you suggest?
Oh, by the way, you guys were right with your bear. So it's brown lay down, black fight back, white good night.
White good night.
Like polar
Like you're
bears
gonna
are the
die?
most
Like it's gonna
dangerous.
kill you anyways?
You're over.
Okay.
Oh my
I was
gosh.
like dying listening. I was like, they're right, they're on it.
We're back full circle. Okay. Okay. So black bear, I should have been like ready to defend myself in my pajamas. Yes. Let's go.
Yeah. I can just picture that. That's
okay. Seriously though, like, I love what Jessie's saying because like get to know them, take them coffee. Like, you know, especially listen, if you are new coming into an organization, you're in street cred building mode with your salespeople. One of the best, easiest ways to build street cred with your salespeople is set really good appointments and communicate. Like set appropriately qualified appointments and communicate about the appointment, post appointment, how's it going, what's happening. Elena, any additional thoughts from you?
I would recommend taking a DISC personality assessment because, yes, it seems a little, you know, why would I check my personality? I'm fabulous. Why would I want to look at that? When we brought Chelsie on board, I didn't realize that my personality was driving her away and it was intimidating her. And then because I didn't know certain parts about myself because I learned I am a D, which is a driver. And if you look at like the four different animal types, which is I'm a bull and I will bulldoze people to get my way. And I didn't really realize that about myself. So having that understanding of your personality and being self-aware kind of helps you be a little bit more compassionate whenever you're speaking to someone that you might recognize maybe they're a little bit more passive and I need to word things differently. And, you know, so that way they're a little definitely more receptive to my very just sharp, concise, utterly blunt responses. So that has helped us. And also with the sales team, because, you know, every sales team has a variety of different personality types. So this just is like a quick shortcut to help people communicate with their team better.
That's amazing. And you know what else is amazing? That's an awesome segue to you got to check yourself. So what you're saying is like, you got to check yourself, like be self-aware. We also need to do a skills check because you got to check yourself before you wreck yourself. So this week's skills check is observe and report. So if you are not currently tracking the handoff, you need to be so that you don't have the feels like Chelsie was saying, and that you have the more concrete data of here's what's working, here's what's not. Here's people who are actively doing the handoff consistently. Like they're doing it, they're doing great. And then here's the repeat offenders. The repeat offenders then get the additional coaching from management and training. Like, hey, you're continuing to not do what you need to do versus making it everybody's issue. So track, you know, like if you guys are keeping up with like an appointment tracker where you're logging it, just put it on there. Have a column. We recommend you have a column for The appointment, the handoff intro occurred. So sales is reaching out, introducing themselves at the time of the appointment. Yes or no, they did it or they didn't. And then post-appointment verification, they did it or they didn't. Yes or no. And you just keep track of that, observe and report. The other thing, thinking about what Elena said, as far as like, how do you know which communities or salespeople are converting the best? You guys should absolutely be tracking appointment to sale conversion at the community level and at the salesperson level. Like if you're cross-selling, you're not just one per community. So that's your homework. That's your skills check. Make sure you're tracking. Jessie, anything to add to that?
No, not really. I think the only thing is when you're looking at data, don't take the data at face value, understand the story behind it. So if there's something that's consistently off, let's figure out where that's coming from. Or, hey, maybe it's lower here because we have less inventory. Or, hey, maybe the quality of lead from the marketing department is capturing the wrong target audience. Or where is the break in the chain? And then figure out how to resolve that issue so that they do have the opportunity to be team green if they have those qualities as a salesperson. If not, get them there,
good point. Right. They can't be held, to, what am I trying to say? They can't be dismissed if everybody's on a wait list. So their appointment to sale, right, wouldn't be able to meet that standard because they can't convert right now. So that's the story behind that community's data. Makes total sense.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thanks for listening. You can see why we wanted Elena and Chelsie to be on with us. One, they're just a wealth of wisdom and information. Thank you guys so much. You are constantly thinking of new ways to do things in your role. So we appreciate that very much and just want to highlight you and so that you can share this with everybody else. Great job. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us. Always
awesome. The last question I have for you is, are you down with OPT?
Yeah, you know me.
Love it. Okay, we'll see you next time.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye.